today we will just like to hand over our memorandum to Suhakam in terms of the contract doctors. So what we are facing currently is that we are contract doctors and we have been oppressed by the government, which is our employees as well. We are unable to fulfill our rights to proceed into specialty program and everything. We are unable to get hazard leave and other leaves as per our permanent colleagues. So what we are doing today, we are proposing that Suhakam endorse our movement and help us in terms of fighting for our rights. So in terms of our memorandum, there are two key important things that we would like to highlight. The first and foremost is for all the contract doctors to be absorbed as permanent posts with KWSP. And number two, for a better transparent criteria in terms of choosing contract doctors to become into permanent doctors. So I think these are the two things. Why permanent doctors? It is because the permanency is the key for doctors to proceed into the career. It's a key for doctors to become into specializing into other fields. So without a permanent post, we are unable to get Hadiah Latihan Persekutuan, which is the grant for us to proceed into master's program. So without permanent post, we are unable to fulfill our needs and our job to serve the public of Malaysia. So I do think it is very important that this issue is fight and this issue is settled by the government itself. So I think in terms of other related issues, actually, if from the contract itself, we are liable to be terminated should we proceed with doing this hartal, as the government has stated in a clause in the contract, if I'm not mistaken, under Section 7, which stated that we can be terminated without any notice. But then I believe this is our right to fight and to stand up the need for the public interest.
This pandemic, the contract doctors are doing the same work and they are exhausted, like many of our frontliners are. They are pushed to the brink. And yet they are unable to get security of tenure. And the other more important point than security of tenure is that there is no pathway for their progress as doctors. They cannot specialize, they cannot do the necessary training to take them forward. And they are being deprived of that very important opportunity. So I think that is a very key factor for them. They're not just talking about money, etc., but it's just being treated so badly. That's one. Number two, they have a concern. They have announced a hartal on the 26th, which is on Monday. And in the meantime, there is ongoing intimidation of many contract doctors because they are speaking up, because they dare to say what is troubling them. And that is of concern. And if they want to exercise their rights on Monday, it is in the hope that there will be no intimidation. Of course, it would be wonderful if their problems were resolved before then, but it's unlikely. And we also invite Suhakam, if it is possible, to perhaps monitor the situation, whether remotely or in some way, to ensure that there's no infringement of the human rights of the doctors.
Most certainly, as I mentioned earlier, I will have to get back to my other commissioners and have a discussion. The other, of course, is that whether we will be there as observers as at your hartal, if it goes on, then you please inform us which is the place to go and so on. And then, of course, in the meantime, whether a press statement should be issued. So I think the immediate action would be press statement. Please don't get me wrong, but it's all subject to confirmation from my colleagues. I'm only speaking right now for myself. So press statement, presence at the hartal on the 26th, and then at a much later point, I suppose the point that Dato' Ambiga you mentioned, whether an inquiry, a public inquiry, can be held on this, because it is an important matter. Yeah.